Before we begin today, I want to remind everyone that Calm It Down podcast is not a replacement for professional mental health services. If you are in an emergency or if you are having thoughts of hurting yourself, please use the emergency resources I've included on the website at calmitdownpodcast.com. Scroll to the very bottom of the page, and there you will see a list of people that are just waiting for you to reach out. This topic is so sensitive and so important that I reached out to a close friend who is actually a trained therapist, because I want to make sure what I'm saying has merit. Because, again, the podcast is not a replacement for professional mental health services, so I reached out to someone that is a professional. But I say this because I reached out to her about this episode in particular because it's so important. It's so sensitive and so relevant right now. The other day I was reading how teen suicide rates are just increasing at an alarming number. So again, if you're hurting and need to talk to someone, please visit the website, Calm It Down Podcast, scroll to the bottom, and there you'll find a few people to start at least the conversation with. Now, welcome to our first episode of May. May flowers, finally. They have arrived, as the pollen has as well. And if the weather is less than flowery where you are, then I'm sending all of the sunshine your way. I have to be honest, it's really beautiful right now. But May is also Mental Health Awareness Month. Now, really, we should be talking about mental health all year round. It's not like mental health issues only come up in May and then they leave us alone the rest of the year. But dedicating a whole month just to awareness about mental health issues, it really makes us, well, me anyway, I don't know about you, it makes us think about things like how we're really doing, how the people around us are really doing, not just the, fine, okay. I recently found out that Mental Health Month was originally created in 1949. 1949. I was kind of surprised to hear that because we've been battling this enormous stigma around mental health issues for so long. I mean, long before 1949, of course. So I'm a big fan of TikTok. And when I get asked a lot, where do you get your ideas about the episodes? I always go to TikTok. And it makes me so happy to see young people, that they're so comfortable sharing their experiences, their struggles with mental health, just so openly with the world. And honestly, I wish I could have been so brave and honest with myself and the people around me when I was that young. It's amazing. Young people are amazing. We've come a long way, that's for sure. But in other ways, we're kind of where we've always been. We're sharing our struggles more publicly, more openly. But the more people I talk to, the more listeners I hear from, the more I realize how much we all feel alone. So I was thinking about how I could celebrate Mental Health Month with you. And I started thinking about all of the listeners who reach out to me and let me know that these podcast episodes and even my music, how they've made them feel less alone. Now, again, I am not a mental health professional. I am a musician. I sit at the piano all day, and I'm not qualified to actually treat any mental health conditions you may have. Big props, however, to those that do that. But I thought maybe what Calm It Down Podcast can bring to the table during Mental Health Month is just creating a space. Any of us who want to join in to just feel less alone, even just for the 15 minutes that you're listening to the podcast each week. So here we are, Calm It Down's Mental Health Month series. You are not alone. Thanks for being here with me. I'm Chad Lawson, and let's calm it down in 3, 2, 1. Today, I want to talk about what you could call depression, but you could also call it despair or sorrow or pain, loneliness, or just deep, deep sadness. You could call it hopelessness or worthlessness. The feeling that we sometimes get that we just can't do this anymore. It could be because of something specific, like maybe you've been out of work for a while and the job hunt hasn't been going too well. Or maybe you're going through a breakup or a loss. And you try and you try and you try and you try, and it feels like nothing ever gets better. Nothing ever gets easier. But sometimes this feeling hits us out of nowhere, and it feels like it's for no reason at all. Like, you know that you're loved and surrounded by friends, but you just feel lonely. You know that you should be grateful for everything you have in your life, but you just can't seem to summon that feeling, that emotion. It's like a big, dark cloud following you everywhere you go. And there may be moments of little glimmers of sunshine here and there, some flowers. But most of the time it feels, despairing, empty, hopeless. Like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and you just can't find anything to look forward to or to live for. Do me a favor. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. We all have those moments of feeling lonely, right? Of feeling just at a loss. And the weird thing is that as lonely as that experience is, I think probably a lot more of us have been there than we realize. But that dark cloud just blinds us and it isolates us, and we're really not able to see past our own suffering in these moments. You feel alone, and it feels like nobody could ever understand this pain. And sometimes the feeling of, I just can't do this anymore, is passive. Like maybe we passively wish we didn't have to wake up in the morning, or that we could just disappear. But other times, too many times, it's a lot stronger for people than that. And a lot of people do end up hurting themselves and even taking their own lives. Suicide is one of the top 10 preventable causes of death in the United States. And this breaks my heart. It especially breaks my heart because I've lived long enough to know that it does pass. As horrible as it is. And I know that in that moment it doesn't feel like it will. It feels like every exit is blocked off and you just can't find a way out, and you never will. But please listen. You will find a way out. We always do. Now again, not to be redundant, I'm not a mental health professional, and if you're thinking about ending your life, then I really, 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 really am urging you to get some professional support, or at least reach out to someone who you trust. They can help you, and it's going to be okay. But I do want to share a piece of wisdom that's really helped me during the times over my life where I felt just complete loss, just empty. And that's this. Don't even worry about finding an exit right now. I'm going to say that again. Don't worry about finding an exit right now. That's too much to even think about when you're feeling this way. It's overwhelming. It's as if you're at the bottom of Aladdin's cave, just miles under the ground, and with no genie, by the way, and you've just been asked to climb out. Of course, it's going to feel impossible. So I want you to try this. Can you focus on how to just get through the next 24 hours? And if that's too much, can you think about how you're going to get through the next hour? And if that's too much, can you think about how you're going to get through the next minute? And if that's too much, can you just focus on how to get through this very moment? Just this moment. That's all you need to do. Several moments have already passed since you started listening to this episode. Do you realize that? You've already done it. You got through it. No matter how awful you were feeling in the beginning, you've been able to get through it now for, hold on, let me check my clock. I don't know, a couple of minutes and seconds. Just sitting with me, being present with me. That is amazing. Thank you. One moment at a time. That's all it takes. And when you put several moments together, they become a minute. And when you put 60 minutes together, they become an hour. And when you put 24 of those together, they become a day. Can you do that? What would it take for you to just focus on getting through one single moment at a time? Let's start this together. Can we get through the next minute? Just 1 minute, 60 seconds, sitting here together, just listening to some of my music. I'm going to play something. Here we go. The minute's starting right now. I'm starting the clock now. Take a breath in. Breathe out. Remind yourself, I don't need to make any big decisions right now. I don't know what the future holds for me. What I do know is that right now, I'm just sitting here listening to a podcast. I'm listening to music. And I'm surviving. Guess what? That minute has passed. Did you see that? You've gotten through a whole minute. It's amazing. It's incredible. You've gotten through a whole minute. A whole minute. Whereas earlier you were just thinking to yourself, I can't do this anymore. I can't. You did it. Now, the key is to do this over, little bite sizes at a time, over and over again. The more you practice, the more you take those minutes, the more you realize you don't have to make a decision right now. And that next minute is going to turn into an hour. And that next hour is going to turn into a day. That next day a week. A month. But it all starts with that really small, simple step of just a minute. Don't worry about finding the exit right now. Just find the minute, and then the next, and then the next. I'm really proud of you. You're doing amazing. I've had a lot of people message me saying they've tried to figure out how to reach out, how to connect to my email, and I thought it was on the site, but maybe not. But you can find me at chad@cometdownpodcast.com. Again, the email address is chad@cometdownpodcast.com. Again, thank you for spending these minutes with me. You make me feel like I'm not alone. And I hope this episode does the same. But know that you are not alone. You are not. Thank you for sharing this with me. To find more episodes of Calm It Down, hear the musical playlist from today's episode, or simply wanting to know where to send chocolate chip cookies, visit calmitdownpodcast.com. This podcast was produced by yours truly, Chad Lawson, composer, pianist, and nationally recognized Sweet Tooth. And now something my attorney wants me to say. The views, expressions, and techniques in this episode are of my personal opinion and is not intended to, nor should they serve as a substitute for medical advice or diagnosis rendered to you by your individual doctor or other healthcare provider. Only a licensed physician should evaluate your situation, provide a diagnosis, or render other medical advice to you, and you should only act upon the advice of such physician. Now, what I like to say. I am an extreme empath by nature, but my profession is that of a composer and pianist, not a licensed therapist or physician. I hear from thousands of listeners how my music has helped them through various stages of emotional needs, and I simply want to offer this in future podcasts in aiding those needs. To find a list of licensed professionals in your area, please visit calmitdownpodcast.com. And finally, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review. While it takes less than 60 seconds to do, its impact will last for years to come, as every little bit helps in growing the awareness and the importance of emotional health. I'm Chad Lawson, and until next time, be kind to your mind, and join me next week as we calm it down.